Hey guys, welcome to Late Night on Base. I'm your host, Bill the Bull. Today's episode, we had Kevin from On Chain Summit on the pod. The GOAT, as we like to say. He is quickly becoming one of the most well regarded guys in all of the base ecosystem. And this event that he's throwing is coming up August 17th in San Francisco. And we're going to talk about obviously the event, but we're going to talk about him as a person, kind of what's getting him interested in crypto. Why is he doing this? And because he's very successful in the non-crypto world in the event planning space. So we'll get to dive deep into who Kevin is. Hope you enjoy the episode. All right, welcome everyone to another edition of Late Night on Base. I'm Bill the Bull, and today we are honored to have Kevin from On-Chain Summit on the show. Super excited to talk to him about, the event happening in San Francisco in a couple weeks, and just to get to know him on a deeper level. So I'm excited for this one. So Kevin, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing really well. Today's a good day, man. A lot of stuff kind of coming together for on chain and other things in the business. So yeah, it's a good day. It's a good day to be on with you.
You are one man who works extremely hard. This guy, everyone in Web3, especially in the base ecosystem, knows who Kevin is, and it's super cool to see. Hey, you're like a mini celeb now in the meme coin world. People are like,
I
"Oh,
don't know
talk to Kevin."
if that I don't know if that's a good thing. I mean, but
Because
I've heard that.
you're dedicated to the craft and helping
Yeah.
bringing in Web3 and bridging it to Web2. So I want to get to know that more. But Kevin, for those that might be tuning in on Spotify and coming across this episode and have never heard of you before, maybe they're on YouTube watching this video live. If you don't mind, who is Kevin?
Wow, I've never had anybody ask me that question, so I'm not sure. I mean, I live in the Bay Area. Moved out here in 2001 from the East Coast. My wife and I moved out here to start our businesses. So I started my company in the Bay Area in San Francisco. I opened up my first little restaurant right there on Kearney Street back in '02, and got started. I've been super fortunate, super lucky. I've just kind of we've kept our head down and grind as hard as we can. Both my wife and I, my business partner Don, and we've been lucky enough to turn our small little cafe back then into 4 or 5 restaurants, nightclub in Oakland, restaurants in Oakland, premium hard scoop ice cream location in Oakland. So we've been really fortunate and really lucky that hard work in this industry is paid off. And so now most of our businesses are concentrated in San Francisco. After COVID, the nightclub we had in Oakland for almost 10 years, we unfortunately had to close that, and then we moved Little Giant Ice Cream because of COVID out of Oakland. We still have a lot of love for Oakland. We do a lot of work in Oakland still, but right now all 4 of our locations are within 1 block of the Moscone Convention Center. So that's kind of our home base now. We do primarily all convention stuff. So Fortune 500 company, really probably Fortune 100 companies who are traveling to San Francisco for large conventions. We provide everything from really basic cocktail receptions all the way to our hospitality suites, where they take over our space for a week for the entire convention, and we curate our spaces to meet their needs, be it food service, beverage service, cocktails, meeting space, whatever. So that's kind of my background. I guess personally, my undergraduate and graduate studies were jazz performance and music education. So that's why I'm in the restaurant business. Have an affinity for art. Any of those who create, I'm drawn to. Kind of a sneakerhead, so custom sneakers I'm really into. But I got 2 kids, and that's pretty much me.
That's pretty awesome. That's cool that you have that creativity within you, which actually kind of segues well to then why you're probably interested in crypto, because most people in the crypto world and Web3 at its soul are very creative people, whether they're founding different projects or whether they're involved in some sort of avenue in crypto to go into crypto and kind of have to go against the grain. A lot have that creativity within their soul to try to do something different. So I can see why you're drawn into this. So Kevin, so obviously you've created, a business that's doing extremely well. You host all basically all year big conventions, and all in different industries. So let me ask you this: what draws you? So for On-Chain Summit, it's a tech focused for Web3. For those listening, Base is throwing it's for the Base ecosystem and what's going on there. So I guess then what drew you, because you're actually taking an active role, getting the Base ecosystem people involved as a segue. So you're doing a lot more than just, hey, here's some space, go for it. So let me ask you, what kind of draws you to work so hard in the Web3 world and bringing it into your event space? Like, why are you working so hard?
Um, I think it's important, right? Like I said, I've been really fortunate. I've been super lucky. I got introduced to Bitcoin, I don't know, it was 2014 or 15, and the friend of mine who introduced it to me, I didn't understand it at first, right? Like I told him, he was like, "Kev, you need to get down with this," and I was like, "Mike, I'm not sure." I was like, "I tell you what, let's finish this beer, and by the time I finished, if I understand it, I'm in." And I didn't. He explained it to me, and it went right over my head. But with time, I was still very curious, and so within those months, I kind of started digging in and wrapping my head around it, and I really fell in love with the idea um, of decentralization, of self-sovereign money, and getting control back to the ideas of getting control back to the people. And so I was really drawn to those ideas. And then, of course, Ethereum happened and smart contracts. And once I started to wrap my head around, the crazy possibilities of smart contracts and bringing things on chain, I really fell in love. And so it became a part of, it really consumed me outside of my companies that I was building. So much so that, we started doing some really crazy rogue stuff, trying to accept payments back in 16, 15 and 16
Yeah.
for services, whether it was bottle service at the nightclub. We would have people who came in with Bitcoin trying to take that. It was wild. It was wild times. And then fast forward, you've got, I'm a big supporter of Coinbase just as a company. I really like what Brian stands for, and the way from the outside looking in, the way it seems like he's built his company. He's local guy. So it's been kind of easy to watch. But then when I started learning about the Coinbase wallet and what they're doing, that's when I was like, you know what? Finally, it's real, right? Because like most of the viewers probably of this podcast, I spent the better part of 2 or 3 years trying to explain this to people not in the space, and I always went about it wrong because I tried to explain the technology, and I was beating my head against the wall here because it took me forever to realize they don't need to care about the technology, right? Like they don't need to understand what blockchain is. They just want it to work. And Base, Jesse particular, and Chen Ten, the head engineer of Coinbase Wallet, like they embody that idea. And what they're building and the builders who are building on Base, I started to see like it just works and it's simple and you can onboard people. So I got introduced to a friend, to Chen Ten, and he's like, look, we're doing this this dashboard piece with Slice for brick and mortars where we could use it could integrate with the Coinbase wallet and people could be paying with USDC. I was like, let me see it. And he showed it to me and I was like, you got to be kidding me. We've been begging for this for years. What can I do? He's like, we need you to beta at one of your locations. Say no more. We set up some dashboards, started working with Slice, trained our bartenders and servers. We would open up for some happy hours and we just started onboarding people, right? And it was a lot of fun because this is what we've been asking for, like to get people to start adopting it, to know it just works. And then as things happen, Chen Ten and I got to know each other. We start talking. He asked me about On-Chain Summer, what I think. I was really honest that it looks great online, but I'm an old dude who does in real life stuff. So it doesn't mean anything to me if it's not an in real life functioning event that I can touch. To Chen Ten's credit, he said, all right, asshole, do it. And so that kind of started it. And it really just started as an idea. And now it turned into a 3-day event. We just modeled it after what Moscone does, but on a very small scale, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And it just looked like a great opportunity to onboard people in our network who are in the business world, who are in the sports world, who they don't really get down with blockchain. They don't really get down with bringing things on chain. They don't know what that means. Mix them up with the base folks and with builders and then with the meme community, put them all in the same room in an event and see what happens. And so that's the idea. And it's just, why am I working so hard at it? Because it's dope. Because it's a great idea, and it's something that once you see it, you can't unsee it, and so it's infectious. So like, I'm trying not to turn my back to other parts of my business, but I kind of am for the month of July and August, because I think this is super important.
Yeah, and I think it is super important. And it makes sense now that you had that Web3 exposure since 2015, you were saying. So you're kind of curious about it. And that makes sense why you want to be integrated into what Base is doing, because you saw a need and you understood what was going on. And so by working with Chintan and Stripe and all that, it just seems like you understand kind of where the game is heading and you have a natural interest and curiosity. So that actually explains a lot why you want to get involved. And you're right, 100%. Like, people in Web 2 don't care about Web 3. Like, it's just these terms that we use on chain, stuff like that. It doesn't make any sense to them. But what they can understand is in real life events, the vibes, the community culture. And like, that's what I think Base does very well. Obviously, in real life is like the very important things, but by creating this Coinbase wallet, you're basically making it so people don't even need to know that they're in Web3. It's just like using a smartphone, using a phone. Like, you can now send, you can text people coins that you own, and they can now have it. Like, it's seamless. You don't have to worry about, bridging to a layer 2 using a different, orbiter bridge or something. That's all in this wallet. You don't need to worry about seed phrases. So I think Coinbase does a really good job, or Base, of making it simple for a normie, right? And so
Yep.
I think that's where you guys come in by creating these events. You are now making it a destination for normies. Now they're going to have fun at this, and they're going to hear about it. They're going to see content produced. So kudos to you, man, for understanding where the direction of the industry is heading.
Yeah, I think, for us, it's kind of that second or third effect of people adopting, right? So people come in our bar or restaurant, and they either get onboarded to the wallet, or they already have the wallet, and they have some USDC or some Ethereum or whatever in there, and they start to interact, payments, and that's great. So they build trust with the technology, right? It's seamless. It just works, right? And it feels just like all of the other apps that they have on their phone, whether it's PayPal or Venmo or Cash App, whatever. So now there's trust. And so for me, that's cool. That's great, right? As a merchant, you save your 3% on all transactions, and compared to Visa, MasterCard rails, that's awesome. There's no chargebacks. That's a nightmare, especially in like the nightclub business. Every Monday, it was just like 2 hours of dealing with chargebacks with credit cards. That doesn't happen. You start to talk about customer rewards, being able to connect and have direct communication with your customers through these digital wallets. That's huge. All that's awesome. But for me, it's the second or third order effect in my mind. And I have a very simple mind, but these people leave. They've used the technology. So now there's trust and there's comfort. Well, now where do these people go, right? For me, what positions do they hold? Do they work in local government? Are they working in law offices? What kind of jobs do they have? Because for me, it's now, how can we take the technology and advance everything that has real world value, right? That has tons of friction to leverage value out of, whether it's the deed to your home, right? To get a second mortgage on your home is like, it's crazy, right? But if all that was tokenized, the ability to do that can happen instantly and controlled by the user. One example I love to give when talking with people is estate planning and wills for stuff that you would never think about, right? But there's this growing base in the US of this huge transfer of wealth that's about to happen. And all that wealth is, how's it documented, right? Like, you got these wills and these estate plans that are on pieces of paper, and they're being held by attorneys. And it's crazy to me. Like, that all needs to be on chain, accessible by multi-sig wallets, where now your kids or your grandkids have access to these wallets, and you can build all this stuff in the code that's way over my pay grade, but I just can already see that, right? And I think a lot of people can see that that's where we're headed. I mean, hell, the DMV, like, that's a joke going to the DMV, right? This technology solves that problem. So to me, that's where my interest lies. Seeing what can, and hopefully it happens, for my kids.
Absolutely. I think it will. I mean, we don't know when, but I think that's just a natural transition. The antiquated ways of doing things through paper and all, I come from a real estate background initially, and just thinking about how deeds are set and title and just how antiquated that whole entire system, it's moving to the blockchain. It needs to be, especially in third world countries, where some of these deeds to the houses are burned down mysteriously in tragic circumstances, and then you don't even know ownership of who the house is, and then you're dealing with just straight robbery. So it's more than just convenience. It's actually necessary to achieve. It's an integral part of truthful ownership.
And
So
there's a human, right? There's a human involved there, and we all have, we're all flawed, right?
yeah,
And so we bring those flaws to these interactions. When you talk about getting that second mortgage or whatever, you know what I mean? The court systems. It's just, to me, all of that can be avoided. It seems like it can be avoided. Again, I'm not a technical developer, so I'm sure there's going to be those technical developers listening to this podcast going, yeah, but you have to do this, that, and that. All that's true, but I kind of see that's where it feels like that's where we're headed, and I'm excited about it. And artist, right? When I got out of school, I toured for a while, small little jazz group, and I really had my sights set on this is how I was going to make my living. This was going to be my path, and I still love that part of me. But the reality is value was not brought back to artists, and that's been eroded, right?
yeah.
And so I start to see now these meme projects, particularly on bass, and you start to meet the people behind the artists behind some of these projects, and you talk to them, they're legit builders,
Mhm.
right? Like, so this idea that you can create in isolation, right? You can be an artist that maybe you create by yourself, or you can create by yourself, but in order to build something, now you need others, right? And so it's social. And I watch these artists form these teams and start to build these brands and these ideas, and I'm like, holy shit, like, this is all because of the tech, right? And so now value can be pushed back to the artist who are kind of leading us this way. So again, it's a long open conversation that I'm super interested in.
And I just love to see. I think everyone can just tell how passionate you are. So it's, anyone on base wondering, man, like Kevin shows up every day and is like integrated in base. There's a reason why. You can just tell that passion. It's more than just, hey, this is, surface level cool. There's like an underlying depth to what you have to say. And I can, I'm a Web3 veteran myself, and I can just, it's palpable. So, kudos to you, Kevin. Let's turn real quick to the event itself, On-Chain Summit. For those that don't really know much about it, what is On-Chain Summit? What's going to go down?
It's a 3-day event in San Francisco. It's going to be at our Howard location. So that's 661 Howard Street. It's right across the street from SF MoMA and the W Hotel. It's in the heart of San Francisco. We actually have two buildings there, 661 and 667. So it's about 40,000 square feet. It's a really intimate convention, right? So we open up as people come to town. Friday, we have a happy hour. It's kind of a welcome happy hour. There'll be a DJ, fun games, obviously tons of food and drinks to kind of loosen people up so people can meet. Because a lot of these people in the space, they're all, for the most part, anonymous, right? We all communicate this way over some screens. So it'll be a chance for everyone to connect and get introduced to the space. That'll last from 5 to 8, usually runs long, 5 to 9-ish, whatever. And then people will go off on their way in the city to explore, whether it's a satellite event or just, going out to dinner somewhere in the city to just see San Francisco. And then that's Friday night. And then Saturday morning, we open the doors at 8:30. That's for demo day. So that'll be from 8:30 until about 4:30, 5 o'clock. And what that entails is we'll have one main stage where we have a series of panels and speakers, roundtable discussions, things like that. And then that's on one floor with the main stage. And then on another floor, we have a demo hall. And so 10 to a dozen developers who are building unique apps on Base Chain they'll have a kind of a nice 6 foot by 8 foot area with a table, monitors, and everything where they can kind of demonstrate actively and openly what they're building, connect and demonstrate it with those attending to get immediate feedback, and then kind of just intermingled around that is going to be some meme projects, right? So a lot of the meme projects, Weirdo, Boomer, uh, Miggles, Peplo, all these projects are going to have the opportunity to have their booth, if you will, live art, to meet, to show what they're building and talk about it. There's going to be a live streaming kind of cube, which is all encased in glass. You're going to, as you know, you're going to be a part of that. We have maybe 4 or 5 crypto native media professionals who are going to be streaming live and building content for the outside world to see what's going on. And then the Heyman out of LA, the Heyman, Nick and Gustavo down in LA, they're amazing artists, have built the Summit collectibles, the wearables for the Summit. So they're going to be doing a pop-up studio down on the lower level. And they have a class, 2 classes they're doing. A morning class where 25 winners will get to sit in on a custom base sneaker class where people will build their own custom sneaker with the Heyman. And then in the afternoon, they'll build these really dope custom duffel bags, all leather. These guys build these kinds of things for, like, the NBA is one of their top partners. So it's really high-end quality stuff. So it's something cool there. Let's see, we close at 5. And of course, Jesse, is everyone asked, Jesse's going to do a talk from like 3 to 4. And I'm lining him up with Mashama Thompson from 510 Media. Amazing guy, great thinker. So we're going to get those 2 guys on stage and then stir up some content, let those guys talk. In the evening, so we close for an hour. Everyone goes back to their hotel, freshen up or whatever they want to do. And then we reopen just before 7 for Crypto Casino Night. All the meme partners have customized individual gambling tables. So there's a craps table, roulette, a bunch of blackjack tables. Each one is customized for a different meme project, right? So for example, the roulette table is the Weirdo, and their artwork is sick, right? It's just totally wild what they've done to this table. And then all the chips, right? And these aren't little flimsy chips. These are the actual, like, Vegas ceramic chips, are all customized by all the projects. So tons of art everywhere. It'll be a party, couple DJs, live music, some dope hosts hosting the evenings. There'll be upstairs, there'll be a founders poker tournament. So each project on base will nominate a founder or a community member to represent them in the tournament for bragging rights. That'll be like a 2.5 hour tournament. And then we're trying to raise money for the Warriors Community Foundation. So during our time here, I've been fortunate enough to work closely in different ways with the Golden State Warriors as an organization, dating back to our Oakland restaurant days where we fed the team. Right now, we're working with the foundation to help raise money for their efforts in Oakland and San Francisco. So the casino night is just another way, right? All these rebuys, we're going to try our best to make people lose all their chips early. So they have to but they'll be having a blast doing it, right? And then every time they rebuy their little $25 tranches, all that money will go to the foundation, like I said, for their efforts. And the Golden State Warriors Foundation is an amazing partner, supportive partner. So they'll be providing a ton of like Warrior-specific prizes for the casino night. And that's why you want to win all your chips, because we have just a ton of prizes. And then the more chips you have, the greater chance you have to get those prizes. Let's see. And then the summit concludes on Sunday. We imagine most people will probably be hungover or tired on Sunday. So we invite them in for a brunch before they fly out. So from 9 or 10 till 1 o'clock, we'll be serving a classic San Francisco brunch, maybe some Bloody Marys and some mimosas. People can come and say goodbye and on their way. So that's a full rundown of the summit. Should be a lot of fun.
I'm looking forward to being there and obviously meeting you in person. A lot of the projects that have been on the podcast, I think most of the sponsors have been on the podcast at one point or another. Weirdo, shout out to Weirdo. Nino from Weirdo was actually my second podcast I ever did was with him. Took a chance on me. He took a chance on me. He was just like, I literally had like a homie do my first podcast, and like the second one, I had no footage to show him. I had nothing, but he was just like, yo, I'll do it. And like, so me and him have been really tight. So anytime anytime I can support Weirdo in any way I can, I have massive love for them. But yeah, I'm excited to meet a lot of people in real life. I think it'll be a great time. I think that's what separates Base from most of the other ecosystems. The sense of community, the in real life events. You don't see this really on Solana. You don't see this really on Ethereum. It's Base, and I think meeting people like yourself. A lot of people probably meet Jesse just in stopping or whatever, and just some of the bigger people in the space, the Chintans. I think it's gonna be super cool. So I'm excited. Kevin, last questions for you. If are tickets still available, and if they are, where can they get them?
Um, there are some available. I mean, like I said, it's going to be intimate. I think we're limiting demo day to 500 people. The and actually 150 of those tickets were already purchased by Roar. So Roar.io purchased 150.
Wow.
They took 150 tickets to give away to local Bay Area art and tech students who are going to be there for Dev Day. So there's not, I think there might be 20 or 30 just demo day specific tickets left. For the full convention, I don't know the current number, but it's probably 30 of each one. So there's a full summit pass. So if you're local and you don't need accommodations, you could get that pass. And then there's probably 30 some Jesse's crew pass. And that's a partnership we have with the W Hotel where you book a full summit pass and you also get a Friday and Saturday night king room at the W. And I will tell you, Chris over at the W, who's running that program, he's a huge Coinbase and blockchain fan. So he's going to lay it out from a standpoint of amenities for anyone who has that pass. So I'm really excited about that. But, so I guess I'd say maybe 60 tickets left. We imagine we'll sell out. Should be a really good room. And just to button one thing about the room, to piggyback on what you just said, I think it's really important to emphasize, like being in the space for so long, there's a difference with the folks that are building on Base. Yeah. And I think people are going to see that when they come and they meet all these builders. Because like you mentioned, Nino at Weirdo, the way he just said, yeah, let's do it with you, not seeing any footage. It reminds me, almost 25 years ago when I started building my companies that, when you have your head down and you're grinding, you just try to do everything for the right reasons, right? And you try to surround yourself with people who are doing things for the right reason. That's the sense that I get on Base, right? That's the sense I get from Jesse, from Chintan. These cats are like, they're building like next level tech, right? That's going to change the world, but it feels like they're all just doing it for the right reason. And it's infectious, right? And you can feel that on everybody else who's starting to get down with Base, you can feel it. There's going to be plenty of scammers for sure. But by and large, I hope that the people that we've kind of selected and have decided to work with us for Summit, you'll see that they're in it for the right reason.
Amazing. Kevin, thank you so much, man, for coming on Late Night on Base.
Sure.
We easily could do this episode for like hours, and we'll probably have to get you back on after the summit and do like a recap at some point, how it all went. So thank you again. Anyone listening on Spotify, please head over to YouTube. On YouTube, we're going to make sure to have On-Chain Summit's X handle and of the website posted in the comments. Also, we'll have Late Night on Base's X account as well. If you haven't followed and subscribed, please do so. It's literally free and it helps us grow our channel and to produce more content. So everyone, hopefully you guys are going to be at On-Chain Summit and we'll see you guys there. Take care.